All right, let's talk monsters. Today, we are diving headfirst into DDM Guild V3. This is the tabletop game where you get to command legendary creatures in an absolutely epic clash of strategy. I mean, who hasn't had that fantasy, right? Well, DDM brings that dream to life. You're not just reading about these iconic creatures in some book, you are literally putting them on the battlefield to prove, once and for all, who is the ultimate champion. And let's be clear, this is not your typical dungeon crawl. Nope. This is a straight-up, head-to-head tactical battle. Every single move you make, every attack, every special power, any one of them could be the thing that completely turns the tide of the entire game. So, to get you ready for the fight, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll assemble your warband. Then, we'll master the battlefield. After that, it's all about the art of combat. And finally, we'll talk about how you claim that glorious victory. Okay, first things first. You can't go to war without an army, right? And in DDM, your grand strategy, your whole game plan, starts right here, way before you even think about rolling a die. It's all about assembling your warband. The whole game is balanced around this idea of a point limit. For a standard 200-point game, you're faced with your first massive strategic choice. Do you blow most of your budget on one massive, terrifying dragon? Or do you go for a totally different strategy and try to overwhelm your opponent with a whole swarm of smaller, specialized creatures? Your entire game plan can hinge on this one decision. And this is where it all comes together, the creature card. Just take a look at this Scaladar, for example. Everything you could possibly need to know, its strengths, its weaknesses, all of its cool and unique powers, is laid out right here. This card is basically your command console for this specific unit. So if you look closer at the card, you immediately see the core trade-off. This Scaladar costs a whopping 64 points. That is nearly a third of your entire budget. In return, though, you get a beast with 85 hit points. It's definitely tough, but you've got to ask yourself, is that super high cost really worth the staying power? That's the kind of strategic math you're going to be doing constantly. But hey, it is not just about raw stats. Check out this power, Charged Stinger. Now, it only works on a target that's already been immobilized, but if you can set that up, bam, it delivers a massive attack with bonus lightning damage. This is a perfect example of how you need to combo your creature's abilities together to create these absolutely devastating 1-2 punches. And finally, your warband needs to have a cohesive identity. All your creatures have to share a faction. It's kind of like they're all wearing the same team jersey. So, are you going to command the monstrous denizens of the Underdark? Or maybe the noble heroes of civilization? And, big rule here, you cannot mix good and evil. So yeah, no paladins fighting alongside demons on your team. Not going to happen. All right, so you've got your team, now you need a place to fight. And in DDM, the battle map is way more than just a pretty backdrop. It is an active participant in your strategy. The game plays out on a grid, and a creature's physical size is a huge, no pun intended, tactical element. A tiny creature takes up 1 square, but a large creature takes up a 2x2 block. And a huge creature, it dominates a massive 3x3 area of the board. This fundamentally changes how they move, who they can block, and who they can attack. You know, moving these larger creatures is its own little tactical puzzle. As you can see in this diagram, when the giant spider moves just 1 square diagonally, it's actually entering 3 new squares at once. The key rule here is that you only pay the movement cost for the most expensive of those new squares. That's a super crucial detail for maneuvering your biggest threats efficiently. It's not just some empty grid, though. Oh no. Every map has its own personality, and it's filled with its own dangers and opportunities. The battlefield itself can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. Terrain can change everything. A square of rubble, marked with that little triangle, is difficult terrain that'll cost you extra movement to cross. But a patch of webs? Any creature without a special ability that enters that square gets immediately immobilized, just stopped dead in their tracks. Using the terrain to outsmart your opponent is absolutely key. Okay, your warband is assembled, the battlefield is set, it is time for the main event. Combat. Let's break down how your heroes and monsters are actually going to trade blows. At the heart of every single conflict is the attack rule. It's a simple, classic formula you've probably seen before. You roll a d20, you add your creature's attack bonus, and you hope that total number meets or beats the enemy's defense score. Success means you deal damage. Failure means a wasted opportunity. But you can absolutely tip the odds in your favor. If you can get two of your creatures on opposite sides of an enemy, they are flanked. This grants you what's called combat advantage, and it makes your attacks much, much more likely to hit. It is a fundamental tactic that rewards smart positioning. And listen, the best attacks do way more than just chip away at hit points. They inflict these nasty, debilitating conditions. Think about it. Immobilizing a super fast enemy, stunning a powerful spellcaster, or weakening a heavy hitter, that can be more valuable than damage alone. These effects are how you truly control the flow of the entire battle. So, you've built your army, and you know how to fight. But how do you actually win the game? Let's look at the final piece of the puzzle, the victory conditions. The goal is simple. Be the first player to score 200 victory points. The moment you hit that number, the game is over, and you are the champion. It is a flat-out race to the finish line. And there are two main ways to score those points. The most direct way is just destroying your opponent's creatures. You get victory points equal to their point cost. Remember that 64-point Scaladar? That's how many points you'd get for taking it down. But you can also win by controlling key zones on the map, earning points each round for holding that strategic ground. This creates this brilliant tension. Do you play aggressively, or do you play for control? And there you have it. That's your crash course in DDM Guild V3. You have all the building blocks now: team creation, battlefield tactics, combat mechanics, and the path to victory. So the only question left is, what kind of commander will you be? Will you lead a savage horde, a squad of elite knights, or a cabal of dark magic users? The choice and the glory is all yours.